that. Your last fight, of course, you won against Viviana Raujo, but you missed weight by a few pounds. Any level of concern heading into tomorrow's weigh-in?
No, I had my menstrual cycle 2 weeks ago. So it was pretty awesome. I know that, you're a man and 90% of the fans are going to be men, and that you're just going to say I'm making an excuse. And I'm not. It's something you guys don't understand. It wasn't something I wanted to happen. We really, 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 really tried. I worked with everybody the entire time. I water loaded. I was dieting. The like literally, I'm a nutrition freak, right? Like I don't eat bread, like I don't eat certain things because it's just not my style. So it wasn't a matter of preparation. My body just misfired, and unfortunately I am a woman. I am, one of my jobs in life is to have babies, and I can't help that I deal with that. And I would hope that the men, deal with low testosterone, and you have your backlashes. Us as women have menstrual cycles, and we deal with things. So they can either accept it for is what it is, or they cannot. I mean, that's not a concern to me. I just know that it won't happen again. We're working forward. I might have my period on another fight week, and I guess that we'll just keep planning like we do and tracking everything.
So on point for tomorrow morning.
We are on point.
Great. Thanks, Jessica. Appreciate it. Good luck.
Thanks.
We will take the next question from Ezekiel Berganzi with Super Luchas.
Hello, Jessica. How are you?
I'm great.
Um, you're going against Cynthia Calvillo, who is very good in the ground. No, she has a lot of submissions. And how do you see against her? Which will be the keys for a possible victory against her on Saturday?
I think I keep hearing a lot about, Cynthia's ground game, and I respect every woman I will ever come in contact with in the octagon, right? Like, this is a fight sport. We're all here because we are the elite of the elite. So no matter what weight class, no matter who they are, I mean, I'm always going to respect them. But the fact that everybody's talking about how her ground game is so much better than mine, and that I should be scared, I just like to remind everybody that I live with a black belt Brazilian Jiu Jitsu specialist, who has been a black belt for many years under the Gracie family. And to give everybody a little bit of insight, I'm preparing for a Submission Underground post fight week. I'm competing that following Sunday against another black belt. So grappling has been all that I have been doing. I mean, every day me and Darren grappled and worked on my skill set that I don't think that she thinks that she's going to have much more, or even you guys keep letting her think that she's going to have this advantage over me on the ground. I have submitted people before. I will submit them again, or I'll do whatever it means to, to get the win. But I'll when the fight goes to the ground, I'll showcase my skills.
And do you think people underestimate this card and underestimate you as a fighter?
I don't really know, because all the people that I do come in contact with, believe in me and believe in all of us women, and love this fight card. So I try to not give any attention to the 5 people that don't like it on the internet, and I focus on the 500 people that are saying all the great things.
And you came of a win, and now if you beat Cynthia, do you have a focus on another title shot against Valentina, or you are only focused on this fight and fast forward, nothing matters, like you are only focused on this fight and let's see what's happened next? What do you think?
I am looking forward to this fight and this fight only, and preparing for my grappling match post. This is my athletic season. I'm ready to compete, and the first 2 things that I have to take care of is Cynthia, following by my Submission Underground match. So right now, the task at hand is what's right in front of me. We'll make decisions as they come. I don't count my eggs before they hatch.
Well, thank you very much and good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
And we'll take the next question from Damon Martin with MMA Fighting.
Jess, obviously this is a marquee fight for this division and for you personally. You've been a part of a lot of big fights and main events outside the UFC, but a lot of co-main events in the UFC. But How big is this moment to go out there and really shine in your first, where the spotlight really is on you and you alone as the main event?
It's pretty awesome because I didn't even hear the matchup when Mick and Eric talked with me. Like, it didn't even like I was like, main event, hell yeah, who is it? And they had already said like Cynthia main event. And I was like, main event, hell yeah, who is it? And they're like, Jessica, Cynthia main event, per Dana. And I'm like, if Dana says yes and I'm the main event, then yes, I'll take this fight. I'll do it. I doubtly I would have even agreed to this fight had it not been given a main event because I think it's awesome. I think that we get 2 weekends in a row where women are main eventing, and it's such an evolution in the world. Women are just as great as the men are, just as much of a draw. And I think that it's just cool. I mean, I think that we're becoming more equals to each other, and there's not these awkward moments where people are like, oh, I'm not going to watch it because girls are on the card. They're like, oh, I'm going to watch it because there's girls on the card.
You mentioned, you said the opponent really didn't matter as much as the opportunity. And Cynthia is a very skilled fighter, but she's coming in literally her first fight as a flyweight. And there are other ranked flyweights out there, potentially that you could have fought, the Lauren Murphys, the Roxanne Modafferi's, things like that. Like, at the end of the day, did the opponent matter when you actually thought about it, or was it just all about the main event?
Oh man, it's kind of crazy because I think that really it wasn't either. It wasn't the main event. It wasn't even Cynthia. It's that I had been training so hard through the pandemic and in the gym. I just wanted to showcase how much my brother, me, and Darren, and Eric and my corner, we've all been, how hard we've been working through this. He was preparing, Francis Ngannou was preparing for his fight, and there was a lot back and forth. So Eric was, willing to hit mitts for me, a day or two a week. And then we were training all the time. So it was like, I don't know. I just was like so sick of being in the house. Like, wore my pretty clothes today because I was just so sick of not feeling like I couldn't express myself and show people all the changes I had made. Like, how much better shape I got in, how much better my ground games got, how much better my elbow is since elbow surgery. So I don't even know. Like I said, when I got that phone call, I was literally in between my morning session and my evening session because I'd set a schedule for myself. I created my own little work schedule throughout from March 15th until we returned. What was it? When did the world open back up? Just recently, until the gyms opened up 2.5 weeks ago. So for me, it was like, I don't know. I just didn't hear it. I just was like, main event, yes, in shape, working your butt off. I had already planned, and asked Mick a couple of times, like, hey, you got anything for me? And you want me, right? You want me for June, when you get here? And there was no, word. So I text him again, and I'm like, Mick, answer me. Like, I'm gonna plan for Submission Underground June 21st, since you don't have anything. I'm like, I'm so itching to just get back to something, some kind of like competition. And sure as crap, we got the announcement, and I was like, well, we're doing both. So
And last question, Jess, I want to kind of get your take on the state of the flyweight division and how this division is being perceived, by the UFC and by the fans, because it's still relatively new. There's obviously Valentina is still the first and, not the first, but the only champion who's defended the belt after the title was initially introduced. But we haven't seen as many high-profile flyweight fights get this kind of attention. You're in a main event. Obviously, Valentina has been in main events and co-main events, but there haven't been as many high-profile flyweight fights. Like, what do you make of that, and what do you make of the state of the division as we move forward into this fight and in the rest of 2020?
it's pretty awesome. This will be my 13th UFC fight. I'm 10 years as a professional. I've got over 20 professional fights. It's pretty awesome, going into my 13th UFC fight, and I get to main event a show. So I think that the flyweight division is developing, right? It was no different than the bantamweight. I remember whenever we were like, oh, Ronda's the only one. And then we saw that title be like, boom, 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 right? Like, it takes time for things to sort themselves out. It takes time for divisions to work. I'm so proud of the flyweight division. I think all the girls are dope. I think all of them are awesome. There's only like one I really don't like, and I'm probably never gonna fight her just because I don't like her and she don't deserve to stand in the cage with me. I'll meet her in a back alley. Um, but I'm proud of everybody. I'm totally proud of the division. I'm proud of where it's going. I'm proud of what is being developed. You know what I mean? And I think that if we continue on the right track, you give moments like this where, your vets like myself get a chance to showcase our stardom as well as our athleticism and ability to create a card. um, you'll see more of them. You'll see more of times you see maybe a female flyweight, maybe main event a card that isn't, the champ or the number one girl. You'll see just two really good fighters, maybe 5 and 10, or maybe unranked because they're just that good. So I think we're forever changing and developing, and that again, there's no stipulations, there's no mold to create. Just keep trying new things.
Thanks, Jess.
You're welcome.
And we will take our next question from Gabriel Gonzalez with Cageside Press.
Hi, Jessica. Can I ask, who is the fighter that you're saying you won't fight in the cage but in the back alley?
Don't worry, you'll find out one day. I'm not gonna let you guys go there and start shit on my fight week.
All right, no problem. One of the things, I was rereading your profile from Hallie Grossman for ESPN. Jessica, you talk about a lot of things, of overcoming that, with your father and your history, and then professionally, look, the loss to Valentino was a rough one, and you bounced back with a great performance. Mentally, how do you get past this? Because we see different people, not just fighters, struggle with it. What's the key to just, taking what you've gone through and always pushing forward and moving forward?
Fighting and training isn't the hardest thing I've ever experienced in my life, and let alone at the age of 33. I'm wiser, I'm calmer, I'm better about the things that I do. That loss was not the hardest thing that I've ever had to do. Saying goodbye to my father was harder. Saying, I forgive you for many, many years of things that have been longer than my fight career. Losing people I love to death, to drug overdoses, to violence in the streets from the riots. Like, the fighting is not the hardest thing I'm going to do. Losing is not the hardest thing I'm going to do. So for me, why should I give it more than what it is? Like, it's a part of my growth. It's a part of my story. It's a part of who I am. And if I use it to make me better and break that mold of, things that I did wrong, then I can be better. Mistakes and wrongdoing constitutes change. And I feel like society is getting better about it, as well as myself. And I'm given a slight microphone in this world. I'll do my very best to showcase how to be better in that way. Like how to believe, how to be better than things that don't make you feel good, and how to get past that. Like social media and as well as media sources, you guys are given a much bigger microphone, and if we all focused on doing that a little bit more, and I say things like that, we can really, really make change.
And a big event, we know a lot about how it's going to impact your silence and to be dialed in, or do you think it might take a second to adjust to it?
No, I definitely think I'll be dialed in. I like I've been saying, like, I fought in December. We started training right back into it, started working on making sure we got a really good track on my menstrual cycle, so I never missed weight because of that. Then I had a really bad elbow injury that's been long overdue since we got my back injury under control. Then we decided to do elbow surgery. And then, I went back into had my elbow surgery, went to therapy. Then the pandemic happened and the quarantine started. That I just continued training, and continued doing the things. Like, I didn't want to come out of this not feeling like I didn't do enough for myself. That's like, I had more time. I didn't have to leave the house. I had time to like do things for me. So like, I am eager to get in this cage. I have to keep myself calm because I want to lay some hands. I want to fight again. I want this. I have so much motivation in my soul, and I want to give it to so many other people, but I also want to go out there and pad my bank account, make people like me more, be a good influence. So no, I think we've seen that. I've taken two in my UFC career, I've had a 12-month layoff and an 18-month layoff.
My
I'm okay
final
with that.
My final question, I want to make it a bit more of a positive one. You called out Joe Rogan after your last fight with Araujo, and he's still not having you on. Do you have a message for the $100 million man after he took a peek and he still hasn't invited you?
I don't know. I guess Joe doesn't like me. I don't know. I guess I give up now. It's like chasing that boy, and I'm like, man, I'm moving on. Michael Rappaport, hit me up. Let's get on your podcast.
Thank you, Jessica.
And we'll take our last set of questions with Shaquille Majuri with MMA Mania.
Hey, Jessica, thank you for making the time today.
Yeah, I got plenty of time right now until about 7 o'clock, and then we cut.
So, it's clear that you mentioned how you notice the critics. It's a minority of people and you try to ignore them. For you, what's that process like of putting that negativity to the side? Because I think it's something that a lot of people deal with.
There's this crazy thing that social media has, and it's called a block button. It's crazy. So crazy. It's not there if I don't see it. And to be honest, like it's one of these things that, like, for me, it took me so long. Like I remember going through things that, like, when I failed for the drug test, and like I felt like everybody knew things about me, and like I really focused too much on social media, and then like I just tried to be somebody on social media that maybe I wasn't. That now I remember on social media that, like, that guy on the emoji, has a 0 emoji, like a couple followers, and he goes, man, I's gonna get her butt whooped, this is terrible. He's just not real to me. It just doesn't, like, register in my brain anymore that this person's real. Like, it can't hurt me, like, because even if that person was in front of me, they would never say that. But let alone, like, I feel like I got to make sure I articulate my words properly with this. Is like, it doesn't seem real. It's not real. You know what I mean? Unless I actually have known you or seen you or put a face behind that voice, it just doesn't really matter to me. It's not real. Does it make sense? Like, if someone said something on social media and they were just a little emoji face, are you really going to get that offended by that? Like, they would never even say that to you in a bar. Like, they're like, oh, Jessica, I'd hit that. Like, I bet you wouldn't say that to my face. Like, these aren't real. These are just emotions that people are trying to fake and say for attention. So, I worry about myself.
Use that block button. I think you're absolutely right. Now, you touched on the menstrual stuff quite a bit, and I think you're right when you say, particularly the majority of people here interviewing right now are not the most equipped to tell you about it. I have talked to a lot of female fighters, though, because I do think it's something that fans should be educated about. And the response I've gotten is kind of split. Some women say, it's just something that happens and it's hard to prepare for. Others say, it's going to be something you deal with every month. And, Roxanne Modafferi is someone who's had a lot of fighters come in overweight, and she's expressed frustration about it. Where do you stand on how well female fighters can prepare for the biology?
So it's been really great. The PI has created a tracking system for us. So, like, there's a tracking system that we can at least put us in a couple day windows of each other, right? Like, all of you men, I'm sure that when you're trying to have a baby with your girl, there's ovulation days and days that you're trying, and right, and some days you fail, and then one day you're like, oh, we succeeded, we made a baby, so there's tracking, right? Like, and I didn't realize, because many years of my early career, I just didn't have that. I was in my early 20s. Now I'm 33. Like, my body's changed. I'm continuously changing, right? Like, all the time. And the older we get, things start to change. So for me, that was really what it was, is like better preparation, better planning. It was only my second time at the UFC PI, working with them and in a nutritional way. So it's a little bit of both. I'm doing a better job to plan for myself, and I'm sharing that with people who are very educated and that can help me. It's not been a problem for me many times. Unfortunately, we screwed up this last time, and I paid dearly for it. So while everybody else has this opinion, I bet they didn't pay someone $14,000+ to still make a fight happen, because that was the choice that I had. I said that to them. I said, hey guys, look, I can continue to cut and we can sacrifice possibly not making the fight, Or I'll come in, I'll pay, we make the fight still happen. You know, and I didn't come in crazy overweight the next day. I came in what I normally come at a fight. You know, so it was like, again, I'm sorry it happened. I made a mistake. It constitutes change. I'm being better about my off season and my off season weight and things that I've done. So again, I hope it never happens again to me or any female for that matter, because it's mortifying. And people just, you know, like act like they like we're the worst human beings in the world. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, I'm a female and I have a menstrual cycle. You know, I'm
Yeah, time to keep using that block button. Well, it's interesting to know the UFC PI has those resources now. Last thing from me, what's this post-fight celebration like for you? How are you gonna celebrate and ease back after all the craziness leading into this fight?
I get to go home to my dogs, which is like my favorite thing in the world. Like if my dogs could be cage side, like it would just melt my heart. I just love them so much. I probably sound so crazy over it, but they have been the best thing in my life. So I just can't wait to get the win. I mean, the Apex is about 2 streets away from my house. So all my friends are at my house. So I can't wait to go home, eat some food, hang out, and then get right back into things on Monday to get ready for my submission underground. So I want to keep momentum going. And I just, you know, it's really nice. I got to see a couple of my Ohio family friends, my family, have came out and they're at my house watching the fight. So I can't wait to go home and see him and hug him because I haven't seen him in so long.
I'm sure the dogs are looking forward to seeing you too. Thanks, Jessica. Good luck.
Okay, thank you, Jessica. That is all the time we had for you. You are good to go.
Thank you.